1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to another e-group series, an amazing e-group series. We are here with Pastor Sam and myself, Pastor Wayne, going to take you through this 4-part e-group series based on the freed people series. Yeah. Stoked to have Pastor Sam here talking us through that. So we're basing it on this verse, which is in Galatians 5 verse 1, which says, "So Christ has set you free, now make sure you stay free." What were you thinking when you kind of caught up with that scripture?
Well, that whole scripture is here, Paul speaking to a church, and they're known the freedom of salvation, but they got entangled with stuff again, and they're trying to outwork their faith in their own strength and do it their own way. And he's saying, hey, Christ has set you free, stay free. And I wonder how many of us, we've experienced Christ, we know his saving power, we know our eternity is secure, but we're still bound by things around us.
Yeah, well, we've been around a while, but we've seen a lot of Christians who have become Christians and seem really free at the start, but of course, as time goes on, those things keep us locked down, and we realize we're not as free as we're supposed to be. Yeah. If I'm thinking back, what are the things that kind of keep us bound up?
Yeah. Well, the question we're going to ask is, what does a free me look like? Yeah, what does it look like? And could we be more bound than we choose to acknowledge? I know we live in a free country, and many people say, I'm free to do whatever. I'm free to do this, free to do this. And yes, we are free too, but some of us aren't free not to. Let's face it, some of us are not free. We're not free not to scroll.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to scroll. We're addicted to things. We're trapped by things. Money makes decisions for us.
Oh my gosh.
We can be bound by guilt, shame, generational abuse.
Anxiety, mental health is a huge thing today where people are bound, absolutely bound.
Bound, yeah.
Depression.
Bound, trapped by thoughts of negativity.
Yep.
What happened in previous generations is determining how we're living our life today.
Man, the amount of people that are bound by simple rejection.
Yeah.
Rejection. Unreal.
Yeah. And so we all say, no, I'm free, I'm all good. And so we live in this place of denial. No, I'm all good, but we're really not. But here Jesus said, Jesus came to set us free. And free, it's like stay free. And so we're going to ask the question is, how do we outwork our freedom? Because a lot of us want the byproducts of what freedom produces in our life, but we're not pursuing freedom. And I believe if we pursue freedom, we'll experience some of the things that we actually desire.
And some of those things that people are looking for then to find freedom, money, relationships, even just the way that we make our way through life, and we think, if we can just have these great families and lots of money and everything we need, we'll have peace inside.
But it's a myth, it's a trap.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in the end, you end up more bound than you do free. And we're here to say that it's only Jesus who can set you free. And that's the good news. That's the gospel. That's the heart of it. It's only Jesus who can set us free. Our own flesh, our own pursuits, they end in a place where we're bound, end in a place of hopelessness. People chase fame, chase money, chase a whole lot of things, and there's a sense of, oh man, I'm no better off than, I thought this would bring satisfaction. I thought this would bring freedom, but it hasn't done what I thought it would do.
Yeah, and the cool thing about the hindsight that we have, being a little bit older, a lot of young people particularly are thinking that they're on this path towards freedom. They're on this, they're putting up the Insta shots of my cool life because they think, this is my way to freedom. I see a lot of people putting up, especially influencers who are like, man, look at my car, look at my food, and look at the cool places that I visit, and they think, this is my path to peace. But actually, it's not until you get to some later years that you start realizing, actually, that stuff has been binding me up this whole time and keeping me not free this whole time. And we're hoping that for this series, for these 4 episodes, that you guys can really take a look at what true freedom is, and freedom given by Jesus, not freedom that looks like freedom now, but actually you learn from.
Yeah. So as we go after freedom, some of the byproducts of that are just, we are secure in who we are.
Yep.
So we're going to be talking about, our identity.
Identity.
Because many people are living for identity.
Yep.
Is like, once I do that, get the letters behind my name, own that,
Yep.
then I'll, and so we're searching for identity.
Yep.
And we crave intimacy.
Yep.
So we're going to be unpacking that. We crave intimacy, and then we strive for inheritance. And that's some of the traps that we're going to address in this series.
I really want you guys to think about those 4 things. I love that they all start with I. This is the intro, starting with I. But identity, who we are, who you are, and what you put your identity in. Where everybody's living for identity. Yes, craving intimacy.
Yeah.
We all crave that relationship, the vulnerability, to be honest and to be open with somebody. We're saying with God, it's the ultimate intimacy. Yeah. But then we're all striving for inheritance, which is a big thing about our future. Where are we heading? What are we laying aside? Who's got our inheritance for us in the future? We're hoping this 4-part series will really open up all those things. This intro, identity, intimacy, and inheritance.
And, the thing, if we can get free, as I said, the byproduct, we want what the byproduct produces.
Right.
But we don't recognize that freedom is the issue.
Yeah.
And so we owe it to ourselves, but we also owe it to future generations to be free. One of the ways that I know that I'm free is when it comes to worship.
Yeah.
Because worship we're designed to worship.
Yep.
And in fact, Moses said to Pharaoh, "Let my people go." He was given the instructions by God to go to Pharaoh and say, "Let my people go that they may worship me in the wilderness."
Yep.
And so here's the thing. The automatic response to freedom is worship.
Yeah.
And so if you have an issue with worship, could it be there's an area where you're still bound?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're bound. You're free from the penalty of sin. We're going to talk about this. Yeah. But worship, it's a good question to ask. How free are we in our worship? Because we're designed, created to worship.
Yeah. I think it's a massive thing, because a part of our huge culture here in the Equippers Church is, of course, worship, our worship and praise culture. And it's not just, the being able to jump up and down to do the external things. It's why we worship. Are we really free? Are we really grateful for that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll throw something at you, right? So I remember watching Prince of Egypt.
Yeah.
And they, for those who have seen Prince of Egypt, and they cross the Red Sea. Whitney and Mariah singing. Who would not feel free with it? And they crossed the Red Sea, and then the sea came in on the Egyptians that were chasing them. And when they all turned around and saw the waves come together again, then it was just this beautiful way that they animated it. Everybody naturally just kind of put their hands up like this, and then you heard this murmur of, "Oh my gosh, what just happened?" And there was this freedom, like, "Oh my God, we really are free from this thing that was hunting us down."
Yeah.
And but it's not very far away from there that then the next scene we see of the Israelites worshiping was now worshiping a golden calf.
Yeah.
So, these people that were free, because they realized they were free, all of a sudden kind of institutionalized it, or they turned it into something that it really wasn't.
Wow.
And now they're worshiping this golden calf. Whereas back here, they were just worshiping because they were free. And that's exactly what
and the whole thing is we all worship.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody worships because it's in our DNA.
Yeah.
It's just what we're worshiping, and because who we look to determines our freedom.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're saying. Jesus is the only one who can set you free. You're worshiping.
Yeah.
It's just a question of what you're pursuing and what you're going after.
And will it bring you real freedom?
Yeah.
Will what you're worshiping bring you real freedom?
Yeah, and the whole thing, I remember Oprah's favorite things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where she gives away a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
You
get an iPhone and you get an iPhone.
You get it, and the crowd's going crazy. It's going nuts. Yeah, it's because they received an iPhone, the latest iPhone. I think when it comes to when we understand what the gift we've been given entails, what it is, the natural response would be like, even the quietest, shyest person.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like if you won lotto, if you got that promotion, it would be like jumping up, running around the room. It's like, but we've received something so much greater, which is the free gift of salvation, which brings freedom to our lives. And so we're going to be talking about how that is outworked, because many people go, well, I received it when I was 8 years old.
Yeah, right.
And we got familiar, but we don't understand how freedom is played out in our lives. So what are we pursuing? And the whole thing is we're pursuing, number one, Jesus, but the ultimate, if you're pursuing Jesus, Jesus brings freedom to your life. Christ has truly set us free.
Man, you can feel the life, right? Even as we're starting to talk about these things, the life that's coming from knowing Jesus and knowing what the freedom that he brings us, and how much life it just brings to your soul and your spirit. I hope you can feel it like I'm feeling it.
Yeah. And the whole thing is we get free.
Yeah.
It automatically transforms the environments around us.
Free people, freed people, free people.
Yeah, free people, free people. Just say that twice. It's a prophetic declaration, free people, free people.
Yeah.
And we, not just for ourselves, but for future generation.
Yeah.
As you're free as a father, me as well, that has an impact on my kids.
Yep.
How I relate, what I pass on to them. And if we can get free, the next generation can walk in that freedom as well.
Yeah, it's probably an awesome thing for you guys to talk about even now in your e-groups. Just what is it that are we really truly worshiping a Jesus that set you free? How is that transforming you, and what does a free you look like? And then how is that going to affect the generations to come in the future? Any last comments?
No, we're looking forward to
this.
Diving into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 4 parts. This is the intro. We're looking at identity next time, and then intimacy the time after that, and then the inheritance that God has for us as we learn to live as free people.
Free people.
Free people, free people.